Hey everyone, welcome back. So in this part 3 of the tutorial, we are going to create or write the tests for our smart contract. So this is a test, we're going to copy it, and this is the smart contract that we created in the previous sections of this tutorial. So the best way to follow along is to take this test link that is going to be under the video, copy everything, and as you can see from the Readme file, also in the link on the video, in the test section, it's going to say replace the test folder, replace the testing.js file that is inside the test folder. So you probably have your folder already set up because we did that in the last section. We're going to delete lock.js, which is a default file that comes with Hardhat, and we're going to create a new folder called testing.js file, not folder, testing.js, and in here we're going to copy paste, we're going to paste the code from what I just showed you, this code right here, which is this link. So select all, copy it, save it, great. And then we're going to npx hardhat test. Make sure you're inside the backend directory, inside the VS Code terminal. You can open a terminal like this. Make sure you're inside the backend, and then we're going to run the test. And in this case, we see that 0 tests are passing, so that's not good. And that is because our testing file was created outside of the test folder. We got to put it inside the test folder. Move. And now it should work. There we go. Donation testing, and we have all 5 tests that are passing, and it also prints out a few things in the console. All right, so let's see this test file. How did we build it? So first of all, we're importing the modules that we need. I actually don't think we're using this, but that's fine. We can delete it. We're importing all these modules. Then before we start the test, we are going to create a describe function and just declare some of the variables. And then before all of the tests are going to run, every it is a test in itself. So we have 3, 4, 5 different tests here. Before all 5 tests run, this before function is going to execute. And in here, we're going to use the ethers module to get signers. These are just like fake wallet addresses. We'll have address 1 and address 2. Then we're going to deploy our donation contract on this fake like net blockchain. And then we're going to wait for it to deploy. We're going to also call the online educator function in this case, which is just an address. Remember, if you go back to the contract, the online educator is just an address. So we're pulling another address here that belongs to the online educator, which is the person that created the contract. And then we're going to print into the console all of these things, right? And you can address 2, address 1, these are the fake addresses, and then the online educator address. And you can see here, one second, my cat. Okay, false alarm, just a little bit hungry. All right, and then the online educator address. And you can see here from what we print out in the console that the address that belongs to address 1 is the same as the address of the online educator. And this is because what we call account 0 of the get signer, the first account is usually the account that is used to sign the contract, right? This is again just for testing. It doesn't really matter for the real world, but we're just setting things up like fake variables and fake addresses that we can use in the tests. All right, now let's do the first test. It deploys a contract function. So in deploys the contracts, all we're going to do, we can actually erase this. All we're going to do is we're going to check that the contract exists pretty much, right? And we already have the contract in here. that we created before any test started, and we can see that the test passed. It deploys the contract. This test, if donated is removed from the donator's account, we're going to use address 2, not the address that created the account, but address 2 to offer a donation. This is going to be the reason, and this is going to be the value, and we're going to compare the balances, right? This is the balance before we send the ETH, before the transaction, and then this is the balance after sending the ETH, right? The same, it's exactly the same function, but before and after the transaction. And then we want to assert that the balance that we had after we sent the ETH is going to be smaller than the balance before we send the ETH. And this is true. This passes well. The third test, we're going to emit the log data event. So remember, the event that we have in our smart contract is called log data, and there's 4 different variables. And you can see here that we first call this function on the contract, and we just give it a reason. We don't care about the amount right now. This is the reason. And we want to make sure, or at least we're expecting the transaction to emit this event called log data. And obviously this passed because the event is called log data. Fourth test, confirm donation reason and amount. So we're going to do something similar. We're going to create a transaction that connects to the second address, not the first address that created the contract. The second address is going to execute the offer donation function. Remember, this is the function right here. And it's going to give it this reason, and it's going to give it this value, right? And then we're going to wait for it to finish, and then we're going to look into the receipt logs, and we should end up with these stats. Now, how do you know log 0, arg 0? Like, where is this coming from? You can actually test this out on Remix. Let's copy this, the reason. Go back to Remix and go to the offer donation reason, like that. And let's put 230,000 away right here as value. Okay. Oh, let's use it from a different, a different contract. I think it is the second address. Doesn't matter the address right now. Offer donation, execute, and if you go in here, now you'll see, if we'll make this bigger for you, now you'll see that here you have the logs, and you go into logs 0, so you go inside the dictionary, and then we'll go into args 0, args 0, and that should be 230,000, right? Equal to 230,000, and args 1 should be equal to this reason that we gave, right? Initially, args 1. This is the reason. So it works. The last test, we're going to filter the index parameter of the parameters of the event. We only have one indexed. Remember, this is the amount, and anything that's indexed in an event can be filtered. So we want to check that the filter works. So we're going to create this filter options, topics 10, and we're going to create the event filter variable. And then we're creating fake transactions, right? 4 fake transactions. The first 2, they all have the same reason, but the first 2 donated 10 way, and then this third one 5, and the fourth one 10. And now I can confirm that the filter is working because I'm going to query the filter of the contract, and I'm going to add this event filter that we created, right? So now we have a filtered event, and we expect the length of the filtered event to be equal to 3 because there are 3 fake transactions that had the value of 10, and we can expect that at least, in this case, the first 2 are equal to 10. We could also put the fourth one equal to 10, and it would work. But if we change this, or let's put the third one, which in this case is 2, right? 0, 1, 2, so this is the third one. Now if we try to run it, it's going to fail because the third one is actually 5. Because let's run hard hat test. Now we'll see that everything passes. Oh, this was my mistake, because because we already filtered the events, there's only going to be 3 events inside this events variable, right? Only this won't even exist there. So what we can check to make sure that it fails, we can change this to a different number, because obviously it's not equal to 9. It is equal to should be equal to 10. So all tests should pass except for the last one. Right, one failing gives you the name of the test, and then it tells you what it expects and what is the actual value. Cool. So that's how you test, or you write tests for your smart contracts. It's pretty cool to be able to filter indexed variables of an event. So I'm excited that Ariel was able to teach you this. It took me a lot of time to understand, but finally we got it. All right. Always remember we're better together, so help each other out. I'll see you in part 4. All right.